Hey y'all! Hi everyone! So September is National Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. And so if you are struggling, I just want you to know that it is okay not to be okay. Hey Maya! Let me go ahead and send you a request. Let me see, did it work? Because this thing be tripping. Okay, there it is. Hey Maya!
Hi. Hey.
Hey girl!
Hi. How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Your hair is cute.
Thank you. Thank you. You look really cute
Thank
too.
you. I'm like, okay, so, okay,
I'm so
I guess.
nervous. I don't know why.
No, I'm nervous too. It's something about going live. I don't like going
Yes,
live.
like I never go live. It's rare that I go live, but it's whatever.
Yeah, it's weird. It makes me feel like I'm on TV. So I be sometimes like tone it down because sometimes I be
Yes.
extra. What's up, Trump, Obama?
What's up?
But yeah, how has life been after Virginia State?
Life has been lifing,
Mm.
but honestly, it's been cool. It's been
Mm-hmm.
cool. Like I was a little like frustrated graduating. I felt like opportunities were supposed to just fall out the sky, but
Right.
that was not the case. So I had to really just understand, like, okay, I gotta have some patience with myself. I gotta give myself some grace because I did
Right.
the work. I just gotta, stay down and just wait for whatever's for me. It's for me, pretty
Right.
much. Yep, but other than that, it's been cool. I've been trying to just become more consistent and focus with just my overall everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like my biggest challenge right now, just staying consistent.
But that's real. You do gotta give yourself grace because you just graduated. What, May? How many?
Right.
Right. So
It, in May, it's not even been like a year, and it feel like so
right.
much has happened since May, but
Mm-hmm.
everything's been good.
Let me see. Hey, her creations.
Yes, hey Amanda, that's my homegirl
Oh, that's your
Amanda.
homegirl. Hey, homegirl.
Yes.
so, so we can start with a little icebreaker. I'm talking about a little. I need to stop saying that because not a little icebreaker. But yeah, icebreaker. So people can, people can join on. Hey, girl.
Right.
Because I know sometimes my Instagram, it'll cut off at an hour mark.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it doesn't. So I never know when it's going to do it.
Right.
But it did cut off on one of my lives before.
Okay.
And I do know what I've noticed in the trends that people sometimes be logging on at like 9:30 or like tapping in at 9:30. It just all
Yes.
depends. It's
Yes.
like, what's up? But yeah, so we can go ahead and get started. So hey y'all, I am Danielle Beal, the owner of Thrive Coaching. And so I provide life coaching for HBCU students and HBCU grads. And introducing, boop, boop, boop. Go ahead, girl.
Yes, y'all. My name is Maya. My name is Maya Moore. I'm from Emporia, Virginia, and I graduated from the Virginia State University.
All
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
period.
Yes, ma'am. The clapper got me weak.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick something out of this bag,
Okay.
and so it's just random things just to make it like hopefully so we can both stop being nervous.
Right.
Um, and so this one is for you. Wait, because that was just too deep to start with. Okay, what is some slang that you learned at your HBCU?
Honestly, like with Virginia State being in Petersburg and Petersburg not being too far from where I'm from, it was like the lingo was pretty familiar. Like everything
Got
I
you.
would say is like, okay, y'all are hip, y'all are okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt that was one of the things that made me feel comfortable at Virginia State. Like it was almost like a, I don't want to say a culture shock, but it was almost like walking into a new world. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to act this way, talk this way,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna just be me. So
Right.
doing that and seeing other people talk like me, you know, for one, look like me, dress like me. It made me feel like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. It made it like a really easy transition for me, especially coming from like a small town. It made me feel really, really familiar.
That's good. Because when I was working at Virginia State, I noticed like a lot of the population seemed like they were from the north.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And everybody was be like, "Are you from up north?" I'm like, "No, I'm literally from down the road, the country." Like, but everybody is from like New York, Jersey. But I'm like, maybe they're coming to Virginia State to get away from the city life. But in reality, it's like we pretty much the same. Like I said, y'all lingo just like ours.
That's cool. Okay. Now let me see. Shake. I guess I will answer one. Yeah, that's a good one. I actually wanted you to answer this one, so let me pick another one. What is one thing you started doing when you got to your HBCU? So I went to Shaw University. Whoop, whoop, Shaw U. Okay, class of 2012. And so something I learned how to do at Shaw, when I first came to Shaw, I would say my upbringing was very strict. And so when I got to Shaw, I started wearing weave. That was the first thing. Because I didn't wear weave at first. I started wearing weave, but I also started speaking up for myself and started developing my own style. And so I learned how to advocate for myself and for other people. And so now I'm the person, like, I will not be remembered for keeping my mouth shut because I'm going to speak up every single time. Like, every single time. So that's something I learned at my HBCU. Okay.
Cool.
So we're going to jump into some of the questions. And so if you do see me looking down, just know I'm looking at the questions. I'm not ignoring you or anything. If you see me glancing down, I just want to let you know, like, I'm not on my phone or just doing something else. Well, clearly, because I'm on my phone here, but yeah. All right, so shout out your HBCU. I know you already did, but go ahead and shout out your HBCU.
Big shout out to Virginia State. Big state, y'all know the vibe. We not even going to do the whole big state, little state thing. Y'all know the vibe.
Big state, not the little one.
Okay.
Right. And so you are a first generation college grad. And so for those who may not know, a first gen is someone whose parents did not complete a 4-year degree at a university. So I was a first gen grad as well. And so who or what inspired you to even go to college?
So my grandmother actually graduated Virginia State in 2006 with her master's in education. So I was like, when I graduated high school, I'm gonna be honest, college was like the last thing on my mind. I was like, I'm fresh out. I don't want to think about school. I was like on a completely different path. So I really had a conversation with myself and my dad on okay, if you're smart enough, you might as well take this route and still, you know, you can do what you want to do. You can party, you can hang with your friends, you can work if you want to, but go and get your education. And my grandma was really big on, you know, emphasizing education. Like she was always studying, always obtaining knowledge. So I'm like, I'm gonna follow in her footsteps. I'm gonna see what this school thing is like. I'm gonna see, you know, what's the process, and I'm gonna trust the process. So I pretty much just gave it a try.
That's good. So that's dope. So your grandmother inspired you to go to college. And was the HBCU your first choice?
It was. Hands down. I didn't even look at a PWI. I didn't even think about a PWI. I knew like I wanted to go to HBCU. I just wasn't, honestly, I wasn't really knowledgeable about what they have to offer other than, you know, it's predominantly, you know, Black students. But other than that, I was sold because I'm big on my culture. You know, I love my people. I love what we stand for. I love how great we are in almost every aspect, whether it's sports, whether it's education, whether it's just being an entrepreneur. So that alone pretty much motivated me.
That's dope. So you were just motivated by the culture of HBCUs. And so I'm with you on that. So yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
Pretty much. I love
And so what made you choose Virginia State out of all of the different HBCUs?
So I have a lot of family members that was like, go to Norfolk State. You know, I went to Norfolk State, little cuz, you're going to love Norfolk State. Then I had people say, you know, Virginia State, you know where it's at. So I'm like, I was kind of hesitant on being too far from home. And honestly, that's like the only regret I have, you know, with my college experience. I feel like I should have went maybe a little further. But I'm like, Virginia State is close to home. You know, I'm not gonna have that homesick feeling. If I need my mom, she's right down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I need my auntie, you know, she's right in Chesterfield. So I did it for more so like security, because I was still a little unsure about even, you know, was I even going to graduate?
Right. But that's so, and that's real, right? The security of it all.
Yeah,
Because I think
honestly.
some people they don't admit that. Like, you wanted to stay close to home, and that's good.
Yeah,
Because you knew you had people you could lean on. Okay.
pretty
And
much.
so Virginia State, so how has Virginia State changed you as a person? Like, how has college changed you as a person?
I'm gonna be honest. If it wasn't for me just taking that leap of faith and just, okay, Maya, just see what it's like, I felt like I would still be, you know, for one, I love my hometown, but I feel like I would still be back at home.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would probably be struggling to find those opportunities. I would be more hesitant and, you know, worried about just jumping out there, putting myself out there and
Mm-hmm.
doing things. I feel like college really prepared me for one, the world, and for two, to how to pretty much, when everybody around me, as far as mom, dad, sister, brother, when they're gone, all I have is me. So college really molded me and taught me, okay, like, you gotta be careful with these Trojan bucks. Like, you gotta stay down. So it taught me how to manage, whether it was money management, time management. It taught me the importance of balance with work, school life, social life. It just pretty much molded me into who I am today, and who I aspire to, you know, later on be. Honestly,
Right.
like, I sometimes I sit back and think, like, I really graduated. It's still surreal in a sense, but I think that was like the best decision I could have made, honestly.
And I love how you said, like, you went to Virginia State because it was close to home, but yeah, at the same time, college, like, you could only do it on
Yes.
your own. It was still a
Yes.
path that only you could walk, no matter how close your
Yes.
family was.
It wasn't like, you know, high school where, okay, you got teachers saying, you know, it's a reminder on this assignment,
Right.
giving you a little extra time on this, giving you way more, you know, hands-on assistance.
Right.
Then when you get to college, it's like, all right, this is due here. It's no reminders. It's pretty much, you got to set the tone for, you know, what you want your grades to be, how your relationship is with your professor. Like, it was a big difference with like the teacher professor I can't talk, professor relationship. Like, high school, like, I was very, very close with my teachers, not just because, like, for one, it was a small town, so everybody know everybody, but it's just like, you know, there were more hands-on. But here I got this big university, some classes are bigger than the others. It's like, you may not have that one-on-one with that teacher. You may have it with one teacher, but most likely you're not going to have it with each and every one. So you just got to pretty much stay down. Like, you really got to want your education. You got to want to better, you know, yourself.
And so, as a first gen, you know, was that difficult to balance, or to figure out, like, okay, I need to get serious about this, or I need assistance in this area? You know, how did you navigate that as a first gen?
It was very, very challenging. And I had brothers that had a full ride to Shaw University actually, both my brothers, and they, you know, pretty much gave it up, chose to take the working road, which is fine because they turned out to still be great. But I've seen my siblings, and I've seen my parents kind of struggle when it comes to getting that job because they don't have a degree. You know, opening those doors because they don't have those, you know, connections. So even though you're getting a degree with, you know, college, you're also building relationships with people. It's not always, you know, which, you know, sometimes it's kind of who you know as well. So being a first gen, I felt like I had a lot of pressure. I felt like I had, you know, my nieces, my parents, my grandparents, like, kind of relying on me to, you know, be serious about what I want to do after seeing, you know, my siblings kind of pretty much, you know, say, hey, this is not for me. I'm not even going to try to, you know, finish it out. I'm going to just go this route. So it was a lot of pressure. And as far as like support, I had support from my family, but I also had to understand, like, everybody has something going on. So I
Mm-hmm.
can't just think that everything, supposed to stop when it comes to me. I can't think that mom can come and drop off groceries. Like, I had to really understand that, okay, I know my people got me, but I got to be my biggest supporter. Like, I have to, pat myself on the back every day. I have to motivate myself every day, because if I don't, pretty much who will? And it's only, so much, a loved one or a friend can really, say to you to keep you motivated. Like, you have to have that within you,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much.
So
So
that's
overall, it
oh,
was
go ahead.
really like,
Mm-hmm.
it was really a lot of pressure in a nutshell. It
Mm-hmm.
felt like a big weight was lifted off my shoulders after I crossed the stage,
Mm.
honestly.
And so I love how you said pretty much like you had to do it for you. And so you had
Mm-hmm.
the pressure of your family, everyone expecting these things of you, but they may not have been able to be there fully to support you in certain ways. And so at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, you're like, I got to do this for me. I
Right,
got to see
right.
this through. I got to walk over this across the stage.
Yes.
So what advice would you give to a first gen
Um,
who, needs support?
for one, I would say do it for you. Don't do it for dad. Don't
Yes.
have that, don't go into college thinking, okay, this is what my parents want me to do. This is what society wants me to do. This is what they
Mm.
expect me to do. I learned that pretty much you can do anything when you put your mind to it. So it may sound a little cliche, but that's just what it is. Like, if you really sit down and say, hey, I want to try this out. Nobody in my family, took this route. So it may seem impossible, but you got to look around you. You got to look at
Mm.
the people that pretty much came from nothing and built their way up, because everything is a
Mm.
process. So if you just understand and change your perspective on negative situations, on positive situations, like, you will be okay. You just have to really believe in yourself.
Mm.
You really have to trust, and honestly, you have to have faith in whatever you believe in. I am big on, making sure that you give thanks, and you pray for understanding and guidance in whatever you do, because without that, you just gonna be lost. So
Mm.
honestly, I say just do it for you.
Mm.
Don't do it for anybody else, because it's going to be so hard. Like, it's going to be so tough trying to,
Mm.
obtain a degree for a major that's not even for you.
My goodness.
And people may, people may
Yeah.
say, like, you're not going to make much money doing that. That's not really popular, but who are they to say?
Mm.
If that's something you enjoy, get to it. You never know how your coins can come in. It can come in from that small thought that you never thought was going to go anywhere.
Right. I love it.
So yes,
I love it.
just trust the process, y'all. Trust the process. Whatever you do, whatever route you take, just trust the process.
Trust the process and do it for you. And I love that, because too many college students are trying to live out the dreams of their parents.
Yes.
And they're unhappy. And like you said, you're
Yes.
doing a major, you don't even care about it. So
Don't even
yes.
care. And that was me
Mm.
starting off. My dad was like, he kind of was drilling it into me to, get into the medical field. This is where the money is going to be. This is a guaranteed, career. And I understood him from his point of view, but at the same time, I had to let him know, like, if I'm going to go to school, you're talking to somebody who was pretty much done after high school. I honestly wanted to go to the military, do it that way. So I'm like, that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it my way. I'm a major in what I'm interested in. And this is just how it's going to be. So I had to not only show myself that I was serious, but I had to let him know, hey, there's so many opportunities in the mental health field. Just because you feel like the medical field is always booming, even though it is, you got mental health, crisis on a rise. Like, right now as we speak, and it's so overlooked. I feel like we need more people, getting into this field. We need more people trying to understand the things that people may be, afraid to understand.
Right.
Like, I never felt like anybody should be afraid to voice their opinion. I never felt like anybody should be ashamed to, talk about some things that may be a little tough. But when you come from environments where they don't make it comfortable, or they don't even, acknowledge it, it can be hard. So I appreciate, my therapist, my psychologist, my my mental health counselor, people that take the time out of their busy life to, check on the next person to make sure, hey, it's okay. If you need redirection, I'm here.
Absolutely.
You need reassurance, I'm here. So I just felt like that was the right thing to do, honestly.
And I'm glad you follow, your heart and your passions.
Right.
And it's interesting because to me, mental health is still healthcare.
It is.
And so many people do not see it as healthcare, but it's like it is healthcare as well. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health, and your mental health affects your body.
Your everyday.
Right.
Like your mind literally controls, everything from your hand movements to your eye movements. Your mind is in control of that. So if you're not healthy up here, how can you possibly have a healthy everyday?
Right.
You just can't. So I feel like we have to learn that, like you said, mental health is healthcare. We have to start including that. Healthcare isn't always, sick, need a doctor.
Right.
It is just a simple conversation that needs to be had, matters that need to be, once they're seen, they need to be addressed. And like I said, I just feel like it's overlooked especially in the Black community, because a lot of people just don't understand. They just don't have, the resources, or honestly just don't take the time to educate themselves on, their mental health.
I agree 100%, because I also major in psychology, and that's the thing, just kind of overcoming those stigmas, like the barrier. People do not see psychology as healthcare.
They don't.
A lot of people in our communities, they don't associate it with them. Like you said, just people need to educate themselves on mental health and psychology, the field.
Pretty much everything from all aspects. Like education is power. So without that, we're going to be ignorant. We're going to feel like the things that are unknown or just, not heard of is going to be like, oh, they're weird or they're just crazy. Like, I never like to call anybody crazy, because it's like they're crazy has a reason. You can't just use that word. And a lot of people use that word, and I feel like they just don't even understand how deep it could be for people.
And I've found it interesting too that sometimes people use the label crazy, but yet they struggle with the same thing that the other person. And it's just like, so you don't want to deal with you. So, you haven't sat with yourself long enough to deal with you. So for somebody, you're going to brush it off as crazy,
Exactly. A lot of people don't like to sit in their feelings, but I am a person, I feel like I have to have time to be by myself. I can't always be, around people, because I feed off energy. And that's another reason why I got into psychology, because I feel like I can really almost read, a person based off their actions, based off their movement, just based off the slightest things. I'm very observant. So I have to take time for myself. I cannot function if I don't take, if it's a day. And if it's not a day, maybe an hour or two to just decompress, just have time to just, gather my thoughts. Like, my mind is always on okay, what can I do next? What can I do to better myself? So I had to really tell myself, like, you got to slow down. You have to, take care of up here. Like, you can't you can't crawl before you walk. I mean, you gotta like, like I said in the beginning, you have to really trust the process. Like, I don't know how much I can emphasize that. Just really trust the process.
And so you pretty much went into my next question was going to be, what made you choose psychology as a major? But yeah, go ahead if you can elaborate on that.
Well, I've always been interested in, like I said, why do people do the things they do? Why, what is causing you to, to feel this way? Because I always feel like something happened. People don't just wake up, with these feelings, with these thoughts. And although some people do, but it's an underlying issue. So what is it, And I always was interested in, like, documentaries, like true crime, stuff like that. I always like to try to put the puzzle together. So it just was something I always was interested into. And I didn't get introduced to psychology until, like, my 10th or 11th grade in high school. We had one course, one class, and, pretty much one teacher. And that one class, that one semester just really opened my eyes. I'm it's so many different ways you can tap into a person.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so amazing to me. It was just so like it was just really cool how you can use different skills, different mechanisms to gather a person's thoughts, redirect them and give them a plan to, try to better their lifestyle. And I'm like, if people can do that, the world would really be a better place. If we really were to take care of, each other's mental health as one, the world probably would be so peaceful. But that's back to me saying everybody doesn't understand, and a lot of people are afraid of the unknown. So we have to get over that fear of like finding out why. A lot of people are scared to find out why they're this way, or they don't want to relive that trauma that caused them to go through this or be this way. So I feel like we just gotta learn that, like you said, mental health is healthcare. Like
Right.
this is important just as your heart is important. This is important just as your lungs are important. So we just got to learn how, as a society, how to make that mesh into one and stop making it like a stigma, making it like you're weird because you have a therapist. You're not weird.
Right. Absolutely.
You're not weird.
Right.
You're not weird at all.
Not weird at all. And so it's interesting you mentioned that you like watching documentaries and crime. So are you interested in forensic psychology as well? Have you looked into that lately? Or
it is so like funny that you asked that, because when I graduated, I was like, okay, I know I'm going back to school for my master's. I'm just not sure which route I want to take, because there's so many job and career opportunities you can take with psychology.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, if I'm interested in true crime and I like, I know some people can't handle the gory and the real and the, the stuff that's hard to talk about, the stuff that's hard to see. But I'm interested in that. It really intrigues me. So maybe forensic psych might be the route. So I've been looking at programs at different universities for, the forensic psych program for me. But honestly, I've been feeling a little intimidated just because I feel like, okay, this is like about to open doors to my career path. So I have to make sure that I'm ready for, each curveball that's going to come my way when it comes to really locking in my career. Like right now, job wise, I didn't get a job until July, and I graduated in May, and I was like freaked out, like, oh my God, like rent is due, bills is due, like I gotta do something. But luckily, from the support of my parents, they made sure that, okay, you just graduated, we get it, we understand, so we're gonna help you out. A job is gonna come. And I kind of got depressed. I honestly kind of got depressed, not, having a degree but no job. Is like, that's weird. I worked this hard, I trusted the process. Why do I not have a job that's for me? Like, what is going on? So luckily, I was blessed with the opportunity in July to become a sales and marketing director at an assisted living and memory care facility. And although it's not strictly psychology, I still get to use my skills because I'm dealing with residents that have dementia, Alzheimer's. They experience sundowning. I have residents that are going from being able to live an everyday life as far as in walk outside to your mailbox to now they're restricted. Now they're having a battle in their mind and they don't understand. So I never thought I would be dealing with older people, but I feel like I'm making a difference, and that was another reason why I chose psychology. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help people, and having a relationship so great and so close with my grandmother, is like, why not give that, to my older people? Why not pour life into them? Just because they feel like it's the end, we don't have to remind them. We don't have to, deem them as just, oh, you're forgot about. Like, no, we don't have to do that. So I also want to tell, anybody that just graduated or that's about to graduate, like, you may not get a job that completely aligns with your degree, but long as you're still using, that curriculum you learn, long as you're still kind of correlating with what you went to school for, it's fine. Like, I I felt so, you know, I can't even explain how I felt, but I felt just so crazy getting on Indeed and looking for jobs that had absolutely nothing to do with what I went to school with. But that's how desperate I was for, you know, for something. And it's just like God just came to me and said, Maya, you gotta have patience. Like you have to, something's gonna come. And once I kind of just gave it to him, stop stressing, that job came. And it's like I was blessed with my own office. I was blessed to be put on salary, and I was blessed to still use my degree. And I'm still helping people, and I'm learning a whole nother market. I'm learning a whole nother, you know, career. So it's just kind of cool how psychology is pretty much used like all day, every day, and we just never knew. We just never knew.
And I was gonna say, congratulations on your job, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I was going to say, because I know you mentioned forensic psychology and not being sure if you're ready. And so I just want to encourage you. Sometimes you may never feel ready and you just got to go. Like, you'll be ready the more, as soon as you take the next step, boom, just keep going. Don't wait until you're 100% ready because that moment may not come, you know? And so also it's interesting that you highlighted, you know, your struggle after you graduated. But I think 2 months and then you got a job, I think that's still great. But I know society, I know everybody, you may see people posting like offers and stuff like that, but I think 2 months is amazing. Because when I graduated from undergrad in 2012, psychology major, my first job right after graduating was at Sam's Club. And I really was like, what am I doing with my life? I got a degree.
How I felt. That's how I felt. Like, I'm applying literally to anywhere. Like, anybody that can take me, please take me. I just need a job. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I honestly thought those opportunities was just going to come with a degree. And it's like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. And I just, like I said, it took me to a place that I once was at, and I was like, okay, I don't want to feel like that again. So I gotta just, you know, put that battery in my back and be like, okay, you gotta lock in, you gotta do what you gotta do to make sure that it is done, honestly. So I had to really, like, truthfully, that's when my faith was tested the most. How I felt like God was really trying to sit me down and prepare me for, you know, my big girl career. Because here I am now thinking, okay, now I'm about to go and get my master's degree. And although I am a little intimidated, like you said, like I gotta just do it. I gotta just do it. And that's the mindset I had starting college. So it's like, okay, I gotta get back in that mode. So once I'm back in that mode, it's like, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, because you gotta understand that nothing good comes easy. So if that job hire you tomorrow, let's say you apply it today and that job hire you tomorrow, 9 times out of 10, that's not gonna be, you know, where you want to be. That's just a job that's full of BS, and it's gonna just lead you to honestly being back unemployed. So wait a little longer, have a little more patience, have a little more faith, and understand that what's for you is for you, and it's gonna come. It's really gonna come.
That's major. What's for you is for you. Because I definitely realized on my journey, like majoring in psychology, it's a couple things that I wish I had known at the time. Like, I didn't know that psychology was more so the longer route versus perhaps somebody who majored in social work, right? You can go boom, jump right into the field. But psychology is more so the long route. You need more degrees, more certifications. So it took me how long? I think it was maybe, oh my gosh, what was that? 2011? No, I'm going back. That was maybe 2017 is when I actually applied to be a qualified mental health professional trainee. Okay. And so that's something I had no idea about when I graduated. Like, nobody told me that at all. It was just, I so happened to apply for a mental health skill building job, and then I was like, okay. But when I did that, I was like, oh snap, I got to go inside the home. This is not my thing. You know, I was like, I'm good on this. I was like, and I've actually start at the bottom like this, I'm good.
I actually had a job like that. Like, my cousin has his own mental health services, so he was like, cuz, you know, you can come do your internship with me. So when they gave me my first client, I was like, whoa, like, hold on, what do I do? And honestly, they just pretty much threw me to the wolves. But I'm glad they did that, because it taught me how to navigate conversations. It taught me how to be confident in walking up to a stranger and pretty much just introducing myself and letting them know, okay, I'm here for you. What do you need me to do? What do you want to talk about today? So it just gave me that confidence that I needed. And I feel you on, going into different people's houses. It's like, it was, shocking. Like, this is what I got to do.
Right.
Like, by myself. But once I did it, I was like, okay, if I can do this, I can pretty much do anything. If I can, make a trust breakthrough with a stranger off of just a general conversation, oh yeah, I can pretty much do anything. And that right there, pretty much, for one, it taught me what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to
Exactly.
do in the psychology field. So I'm thankful for the opportunity and that experience, and that's something I will never forget, because it gave me the opportunity to see, what I like and what I didn't like.
Right.
I even had an offer at Poplar Springs. It was a mental hospital, being a mental health tech. And that was, a different experience for me, the actual hospital setting of, the mental health field. So I'm like, this is new. I enjoyed it, but I felt like the structure of the hospital just wasn't for me either. I'm the type of person, I don't really like to be micromanaged.
Right.
I like to, know what I'm going to do. This is what we're doing today, and we're going to get it done. So the fact that I didn't have any real structure, any real direction or guidance, it gave me like an uneasy feeling, especially knowing that it's rules and regulations to what I'm supposed to do, for these people. And I felt like I couldn't be the best mentor to them because I didn't have the proper guidance for my, my staff. So before I, allowed myself to just go in there and do it their way, which I felt like was the incorrect way, I just removed myself. And like I said, here I am on office, salary position, flexibility to pretty much make my own schedule for the day. And I'm still being a great help to, those people. I'm still touching lives. I'm still, giving that redirection, that guidance. I'm still giving them that compassion, that they may not get from their loved ones. So it worked out pretty good. It worked out pretty good. Really, there's nothing wrong with like trial and error. I feel like without trial and error, you're not gonna know what you like. So
absolutely. And that's one thing I feel like about psychology that I've learned over the years. Just psychology, the skills, the information that you learn is transferable to anything. Yep. So even when I was the cashier right out at Sam's Club, the psyche helped me be able to get people to upgrade their memberships. I did sales at Geico, and I was one of the top sales agents. And it took me, I had a long path until I'm like, okay. And even now I'm like, okay, I love working with HBCU students. Yep. I don't want to be a therapist, right? That's what I discovered. I don't want to be a therapist. Right. But someday I do hope to become a health psychologist and, help with the health disparities. Okay. And so that healthcare piece is real big to me. But yeah, it took a long time. And I'm like 11 years post, after undergrad. So I'm like, what in the world? My master's in divinity. And I'm like, what's happening, Lord?
Right.
But I'm realizing even in theology, it all connects. Psychology, it all intersects.
It's like a full circle.
Exactly.
Yes, it is definitely like a full circle. And it's like you said, everything just relates. Like, you could be a cashier. Like, I had a bunch of customer service jobs, and I never knew, like I said, I didn't get introduced to psychology until like mid-high school year. So I never knew me working, at McDonald's, me being a cashier at Burlington I'm gonna be interacting with people on a daily, and just, a simple thank you or how are you could change somebody's day. Like, it's just so crazy how psychology literally is in our everyday, and we don't even know that we're applying. And that's why I feel like it's so cool. I feel like it's just so cool that, like I said, it's so many different ways you can approach situations, but we have to take the time to learn how to learn what works for us. Because what works for you, might not work for me, and what works for me might not work for the next person. So, when you really take the time to learn yourself and understand that you are deserving of whatever you want to get, nothing is, impossible. Like, you can pretty much do and get whatever.
I agree. And what is something that people may not know about being a psychology major?
Honestly, I feel like a lot of people feel like psychology is just sitting and talking to somebody, or, you know, sitting and listening. A lot of people, because that, you know, that's pretty much how they put it on TV and movies. Like, you got your couch, you got your psychologist sitting there with their notepad taking notes, but it is deeper than that. Like, it's so much reading, it's so much research that comes with psychology. Like, I didn't know that I was going to have to take experimental psych. I didn't know that that required statistics. So I was like, oh my God, numbers. Like, people feel like it's no numbers to psych, but I'm like, it is. Like, it's definitely processes, is experiments that, you know, determine the outcome for, you know, things. This is how they, you know, understand and break down our everyday. Like, you have industrial psychologists, you have organizational psychologists,
right,
that work in your you know, in your job field to determine what works for, you know, the overall job. So it's like, people think it's just that cut and dry, long couch, simple conversation, but it is not. It is not. It is so much reading, writing, highlighting, researching, breaking down. Like, it's a lot.
Right. Heavy
It
on
is a lot.
writing, my Lord. Heavy on writing.
Heavy on writing. I honestly feel like the writing was cool, but the research part for me, it was like, oh my God, I am definitely new to this. I am new to how y'all want me to do this. I'm new to the whole numbers, and math is like my weakest subject. So it's always been intimidating. So I'm like, oh my God, this is another thing that's going to set me back from getting my degree. But I had to understand, okay, if this is hard, if this is not interesting to you, Maya, you have to really be at the front of the class. You need to be at every class. Like, you got to be on top of this, because you cannot fail. And it really hit me my senior semester. It's like, okay, they gave me the 2 hardest classes at the end of my semester on top of the lab. Oh my God, I got to really lock in. So truth be told, my first 2.5 semesters of school, I was not focused. I was not, you know, focused on that GPA. I was not focused on going to class. I felt like, okay, I can finesse the situation. I can get somebody to sign me in. No, it is so much information, so much understanding you're going to miss by missing that one class.
Right.
Like, I really wish that I took my first 2 years more serious compared to me, you know, being way more serious and organized my last 2 years. But gratefully, my grades, you know, were A1 when I graduated. So that was enough for me to, you know, just to show myself, okay, now if you would have just really, you know, trusted yourself, took the time, your first 2 years, girl, you could have graduated with a 4.0. But by the grace of God, I graduated. So I was cool with that. I was cool with that.
Right. Because my motto, I'm not going to lie, some people may not like it, but C's get degrees. Because sometimes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
C's
look.
get degrees. C's get degrees.
C's get degrees. Because I know when I was in undergrad, I was doing everything but the right thing. And I did not get serious until my junior year. And I was a 5-year college student, because my sophomore year practically didn't count. I don't know what I was doing. I had probation and everything. But yeah, so I feel you 100%. But
and I feel like a lot of people, like, when they start college, of course, freshmen. Right. And I didn't start Virginia State as a freshman. And I feel like if I started as a freshman, maybe I would have got that out my system my freshman year. But me taking college credits in high school, so I transferred in as like a sophomore or a junior. My credits was all across the board. So I came in and it's like, okay, this is fun. I felt like a freshman, but I had that classification of a junior. So it's like, you know, I was all messed up. Like, I'm like, I'm trying to party. I'm trying to be outside. I'm trying to be in class. So I feel like your freshman year, I'm not gonna say just party, but enjoy yourself. Like, get to know those people, join those orgs, you know, get to networking, get to talking to people, just pretty much put yourself out there. And I wish I did that a little more. I didn't really get like hands-on on campus until pretty much like my last 2 years. I didn't really start making friends with anybody until like my last 2 years, because my first 2 years I was just like all over. Like, I was working honestly from like 4 p.m. to like 2 a.m. So there's that. And then I got class. So it's just like, I don't really have time to socialize. I wish I did. But
Mm-hmm.
when I did get time to, like, meet new people and just have general conversations in class with different people,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, college is lit. College is
Right.
fun because everybody there is trying to get the same thing. Everybody
Right.
there is trying to get that degree. So you may feel intimidated coming in as a freshman just because you feel like everybody else has it together. Everybody else is walking around on campus. They may look like they got a little more than what you may have, but it's like, no, I promise you, they're struggling just like you.
Right.
They may carry it a little better, but best believe everybody is feeling the same type of, stress. So I had to learn that. I had to learn, like, just because somebody, is carrying it a little better does not mean it's not heavy. So,
That's good. Come on.
yes,
Look, that.
yes. Yes, ma'am. Virginia State
Yes.
really dropped some gems on me. And like I said, it really shaped me into, the person I am today. And I am so grateful for it. So grateful.
Yes. I love it. So what are some psychology classes that you had to take? Well, which ones were your favorite that you would like to highlight at Virginia State?
So my favorite classes, honestly, was like social psych. I actually had a criminal justice class that I enjoyed. I don't know if it was the professor or like how he just laid everything out for me, but it gave me a different point of view on, criminal justice. That's something I never, looked into. But
Right.
social psych, my criminal justice class, I had like what was it? Intro to Black Psychology. I enjoyed that class so much because I felt like everything I was taught in school, it wasn't fully true. So getting to know like the history of like my people and where I come from and why things are the way they are now, it just made so much more sense as to what everything is going on around me. And like it just taught me about just the breakdown of like just true Black history and how it was like, I'm not going to say shun, but how it was portrayed to be in the European point of view, instead of our point of view. So I really enjoyed that class. That was probably one of my favorite class, like hands down.
And that sounds like a good class. I wish I had that when I was at Shaw.
It was really
good.
interesting. And I like the fact that Virginia State, like, I'm not gonna say they make you take some type of Black psych course or some type of Black culture related class, but I feel like that they make it a part of their curriculum no matter what your degree is in. Like you're going to get a piece of some type of African American culture. Like they're gonna highlight that we did this, or we had this thought. It was so many Black psychologists that I didn't even know about. Like I didn't know that I read a book in Black Psych. The author is Dr. Cambon. He's a psychologist, and it's like you don't hear about Black psychologists. You only hear about different races, whether it's white or like Asian or something. You do not hear about Black psychologists, let alone females. So I'm like, that is cool. Like they've been set the tone for us. We just never knew about it.
Come on, they've been set the tone.
They set the tone for us. Like some of the stories I've heard in class and like different classes is just like, it's just so amazing how like there's so much history that's out there. Like, and if you really had the time to like learn everything, you will be so amazed as to like what you didn't know. And I feel like you're supposed to learn something new every day. So that was another reason why I enjoyed going to Virginia State. I feel like Virginia State gave me a new gem every day, like whether it was minor or major. I'm like, I'm learning something every day. And I never really been in a environment where I learned something useful, for my everyday life. Because like I said, high school didn't really, it gave me like the blueprint, but it wasn't fully correct. So everything that I was doing wrong got corrected in college. So I'm thankful for that.
And so in what ways was majoring in psychology challenging for you?
Like you said, it's so much reading and writing. I like to read. I grew up reading a lot of books more than watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm reading, but I'm not reading something that is, my type of genre. This is not something I would go to the library and pretty much pick up. But it's like, okay, this is how you understand and decode, a person's behavior just by reading and researching and applying it. So if I don't read it and if I don't research it to make sure it's correct, what am I doing? Like, I have to have something to back, what I'm saying out my mouth. So I feel like that was like the most challenging thing about the whole curriculum. It was just a lot of different research methods that I had to, adjust to, especially not knowing that we had to deal with numbers. I'm like, whoa, what does this have to do with psychology? But once I learned, why we apply that, it made more sense.
Right. And so what would you say is the most liberating thing that you learned?
I think the most liberating thing that I learned is, like I said, if you put your mind to whatever you want to do and give yourself, I say, a 30-day run. You give yourself a 30-day run and dedicate those 30 days to whatever you choose, you're going to accomplish it. I promise you. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a cakewalk. I'm not saying it's going to be, a walk in the park. But if you're consistent and you follow, the path, and you write out your goal, you'll accomplish it. I feel like it's nothing that you can't do. So get out of that mindset of I can't, and just understand that I can do this. Especially if the next person can do it. Like, social media plays a big role on like how people view the place they're at in their life. So I feel like you can't compare to what you see on Instagram. You can't compare it to like, influencer that's 23 years old because you're 23 years old. Like, they trusted the process. They, followed their plan. You got to do the same. If you don't do the same, you just sitting back watching. You just sitting back watching the next person shine when you could have been doing that. You could have been pretty much sitting right beside them. So I say it's nothing that you can't do.
Yes, nothing you can do. And comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
So like you said, trust your process.
Yes.
Don't compare yourself to other people on social media because that's a big thing.
And then social media isn't even real. So it's like if you're sitting back and you're trying to figure out how this person got something, you're never going to get it. I'm pretty sure that they got it either because they worked hard for it, it was given to them, or they put themselves in a position that it was pretty much, I gotta get it. I gotta do this no matter what. And sometimes that no matter what isn't what you want it to be. Sometimes you may find yourself in a messed up situation because you envy what the next person had so bad. You put yourself in a situation where you just doing whatever, and you never want to go out like that. You never want to go out where you pretty much then sold your soul to have what this person have instead of just trusting your process. Like, if you just stay in your lane and focus on you and have that perspective, it's me versus me, you're never going to fail. You're never going to fail.
Right. Me versus me.
Yep. Me versus me. Like, that's my motto. Like, I cannot be worried about what the next person is doing, especially like with our generation changing. It's so different from when like my mom and my dad grew up. And honestly, I feel like I should have been born back then. I feel like it was way more, like, the vibes were better. Everything was genuine. But now it's like you got to really watch what you say. You got to really watch what you do. And you got to watch the people that's close to you. And it's like, that's an uneasy feeling. So you just got to keep yourself focused. Like, you got to kind of have tunnel vision when it comes to your life, because at the end of the day, life is so short. You don't want to have any regrets. You don't want to wake up and say, I wish I would have did this. You should have did it. You should have did it.
And so what advice would you give to someone who maybe they do have tunnel vision, but what's missing in their life is the friendships or the connections? What would you say to that person?
I feel like if you don't have anybody that's like that you feel like is on your side, or you feel like is truly supporting you, I feel like you need to journal. If like I said, if you're religious or whatever you're into, you really need to tap in with that and keep the faith with whatever you believe in. And you need to listen to motivational podcasts, whether it's like an audio book or like a YouTube. Like you need to have something, other than yourself saying, hey, keep going, because you can keep yourself going, but everybody needs somebody. So if you feel like
Absolutely.
if you really just don't have that go-to person, or you just don't you're not as trusting to people, because like I said, society is so weird now. You don't really trust your loved ones with some of your secrets. So if you're feeling like that, I say turn to a podcast, turn to something that's going to make you feel good, that's going to motivate you, that's going to speak life into you. Because if you don't have at least one other person other than yourself, it's like you got to keep your cup full some way. You got to keep yourself up. You got to keep your spirits up. So there's a lot of ways you can do it. Like I said, journaling, on focusing on your religion or your spirituality, or just blocking it with a podcast. Like I love a good podcast. I consider myself like an iPad kid, so I always got to have something going while I'm doing something, and I'm just listening to it. I don't even have to be, like visually watching it. So you gotta find, what motivates you. And it doesn't even have to be something hands-on like that. If you like to take a walk just to clear your mind and, gather those thoughts and, reset the tone for yourself, because you got, do that. Do what makes you feel good. Do what makes you feel good.
Yes. And I would also like to add to what Maya said, just also, if you are struggling with making those human interactions, like she said, go out, do something, because you probably will meet people along the way.
Yes.
And it's a quote that I heard one time. It said, you'll get hurt loving people, but don't let that stop you from loving. So, everyone out here isn't bad. So
Exactly.
you can trust somebody,
Yes.
but, just be intentional about, the connections, not just exposing everything about yourself too soon. Being intentional, actually give the relationship or friendship time to grow. Pay attention to people patterns.
Yeah.
Because if they're being weird, then I say cut them off.
Yeah.
I'm really big on that. No. But yeah.
Because you're, like I said, you're going to experience sometimes. Well, I'm not going to say you're gonna. If you do experience an uneasy feeling around somebody that you consider a friend or a loved one, my mom always told me, no matter the title, if they're toxic and they gotta go. So when she told me that, I kind of took that and I ran with it, because it was situations with certain family that I felt like they weren't really serving me. They weren't really supporting me. But I had to also be real and accountable with myself and say, hey, it's 2023. It's so much going on. My family members got kids. They got the same bills I got. Like, I can't just automatically think, it's something they got against me. Like, I had to look in the mirror and understand, like, it's probably a reason why they, treating you a little, not giving you much love like how they used to. But then again, you have to have some type of discernment within yourself and understand, like, all right, they keep on doing the same thing. They keep on. Whenever I talk about what I got going on, they shut the conversation down. Whenever I say, hey, take a picture of me, I don't get the same energy. It could be the slightest thing.
Yeah.
It could be the slightest thing. You could call your homegirl. She don't want to talk today. I'd rather you say, hey, friend, I don't really have the capacity to talk right now. Call me later, instead of sitting on the phone and being, kind of empty with your responses. I just feel like with communication, and if everybody is clear and everybody hold themselves accountable with their feelings and their intentions, you can have a good circle. You can have a good circle, and it's okay to leave some people behind, because everybody can't come with you. Everybody isn't meant to come with you. Some people are really a lesson, so you can't just look at it like, dang, they really hurt my feelings, or like they really played in my face. Like, no, you got to take that as a lesson. And that's what I said. Like, my perspective, I learned to not always just say it's a L, like I took a loss. Like, I had to really, say, even if something negative happened, what was the positive in that? Like, what did you learn from that? What did you or could you have done? You know, like what can I change so that won't happen again? So I feel like nothing is ever a loss. It's just a lesson. It's just
Mm,
you have to really dig deep and find like the good and the bad, because it's always some good and some bad. You know,
mhm.
it's always some way you can turn it so it can work in your favor. And if you can't, you know what not to do again.
Mhm.
You know what not to put your, you know, what situation to put yourself into. So you gotta have discernment. You gotta trust your gut and know that, all right, these people not for me.
Right.
They not for me, because God gonna let you know. He gonna let you know. You know, you keep on going back to the same people. You keep on telling these people your business, your plans, and thinking that they're your friend. And each and every time, it's gonna blow up in your face. So
Right.
it's up to you how many times you're gonna keep going through it. But once you know, once that last time comes, you gonna understand. And from that point on, you're gonna trust your gut feeling and know they gotta go.
And so I love that. Trust your gut, be discerning, and pay attention to patterns. Because, like you
Yep.
said, pay attention. If they never have the capacity, if they never can talk to you, but they can deal with other people, you know, like you
Yep.
said, pay attention to patterns. And so that's real.
Watch
And so,
that. Yes.
what is one piece of advice that you would give to a current college student? Just any, about anything.
To any current college student right now, I would say, um, I would say for one, take time for yourself.
Mm.
Take time for your mental health, because you can be a, you know, an A+ student, but if you're so in the books, when do you have time to decompress? When do you have time
Mm.
to relax? Like, even though you're doing the right thing, you gotta take some time and have some me time. You gotta you know, put your mindset on rest a little bit to be able to keep up with, you know, your everyday. I feel like go to class. Like I said, definitely go to class. If you have to miss class, make sure it's a valid reason. Don't miss class and then an hour later say like, dang, I could have went to class. Yeah, you could have went to class. Um, be on top of time management. Like I learned, like I'm the biggest procrastinator there is. Like I will wait a day before to write a 12-page paper. True story. But
Mm.
that's me. Like I work better under pressure. But don't test your limits, because you're gonna find yourself testing your limits at the wrong time. And you might not always come on top how you might think, when in reality, if I would have started on this assignment, you know, 2 or 3 days earlier, I could have got that A. But now I got to settle for a C because I waited, you know, 12 hours before.
Right.
So just make sure that, for one, this is something that you really want to do. And
Mm.
then if this is what you want to do, make sure you really dedicate that, you know, dedicate it, you know, hustle it out. It's okay. Work hard. But at the same time, give yourself some grace. Like, give yourself, you know, that, okay, I didn't do good on my exam, but
Mm.
I'm going to see, you know, I'm going to step back. I'm going to look at what I need to, you know, work on, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool.
And another thing, look, I was distracted by the heart. I was like, okay, big money.
Right, that's
Okay,
cuz.
cuz. And so what advice would you give to a recent college grad like yourself who may have found themselves, you know, going through those emotions that you did? You know, maybe they can't find a job. Maybe they feel like, what am I doing with my life? I got a degree, but I don't know what's next. What would you say to that
Right.
person?
I would say just have some faith. Have faith, and don't feel like it's something you're doing wrong. The only time you're in the wrong is if you're not trying to be better. If you're not applying to jobs, if you're not going to see what your local resources are, if you're not trying to, you know, talk to your family to see what and who they connect you with, like you got to do some work. So I just feel like do that, but don't take it as like a slap in the face. Like, don't take it as in I did this for nothing, because trust me, it's gonna come. And like I said, just because you have a degree in this doesn't mean it's not okay to learn something new, because you never know what you're going to be interested in. Like I said, my degree is in psychology, so I always thought I was going to be, you know, your mental health counselor working in a school
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. But here I am, a marketing director going out, talking to people every day, building relationships with hospitals, rehabs, hospice. And it's like, I never saw myself doing it, but I enjoy it because I can still, you know, be myself. My personality can shine through. I'm working for somebody that pretty much sees the potential. They see, you know, like my work ethic and what I can do and what I'm doing, and they acknowledge that. So it's like, sometimes you gotta go where it's uncomfortable. And usually what's uncomfortable is pretty much good for you sometimes. So I would say, just because you may feel like that job isn't for you, just give it a try. Just at least give it a try. But like I said, don't just sit and think, you know, nothing is working out. I feel so bad for myself. Like, don't sit in your feelings. That's exactly what I did. I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this. I got a degree. Now where's the job? I'm not making my people proud again. I'm back at square one. I really felt defeated. And I'm like, no, I just accomplished something that a lot of people can't say that they did.
Right.
So it's like, I gotta pat myself on the back for that. And here it is, September, and I still can't really believe that I graduated from a university. So it's like, just take your time. Just take your time.
Take your time. I love it. So shout out to Maya. I'm so proud of you, all of your growth. I'm proud of you for your job opportunity, for being transparent. I know we didn't get to talk about you being a lash tech, but just all of that, how psychology is transferable into any area that you go in. So we're rooting for you. And so one other thing I wanted to hit on, so September, it is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. And so what advice would you give to someone who may be suffering silently? Just an encouraging word for that person who may be suffering silently. You know, they're going around their friends, they're smiling, they're wearing a mask, or either they are masking it with alcohol or smoking weed or edibles or whatever they're doing to cope. Maybe it's sex, you know. And so what would you say to that person?
I would say, I know it's really cliche to say, but you are not alone. Like, I promise you, you're not alone. And just because your feelings may be a little more intense than the next person, you're not alone. I promise you, it's people that wake up, because it's days that I wake up and I'm like, I just don't feel like it. I'm not feeling it. Today is not a good day, but we have to keep going. You got to keep going. And as far as like the friends and the family that you surround yourself with, and they're not really picking up on those things, don't feel like that they don't care, because it may be just they just don't know how to approach you, or they're just not knowledgeable on, you know, certain signs and certain behaviors that may come along with, you know, having those suicidal thoughts. So just know that you're not alone, and that even if you don't want to talk to somebody, it's different outlets to like express those feelings. Let those feelings go. You know, whether it's screaming, whether it's going to sit in the car by yourself and just playing some music with your eyes closed, whatever it is that brings you peace, focus on that. And don't focus on anything else around you until you're better. Nothing else matters until you know what you're feeling is recognized, and you learn how to really like deal with it.
Yes, all of that. So thank you, Maya. And I do just want to piggyback off of that as well. So it's okay not to be okay. Just know, you know, we all have good days, bad days, frustrated days, anxious days. And so it does not make you, we're all human, right? That we often have to say we're human. But yeah, so if you are struggling, like Maya said, you are not alone. And so don't be ashamed to reach out for help or to tell somebody that you are not okay. Because there are so many resources and people who really want you here. Like, you matter. Your life matters.
You matter.
You matter.
I promise you, you have a purpose. It may not feel like it right now. You may not even understand, you know, the things that's going on around you. You may question why, but you have a purpose, and God not gonna give you anything that you can't handle. So it's a reason why, you know, he's putting you through this, and that's just a moment. Tomorrow is gonna be a new day, and you may not be feeling that way. So you just gotta hang on and realize that you are somebody. You are somebody. No matter what somebody may say, how somebody may treat you, you are somebody, and you are important.
you are important and you are somebody, and it's okay to have Jesus, God, and a therapist or whoever you believe in. It's okay to have all of that. It does not mean that you lack faith or that God is punishing you. Mental illnesses are real, and they do not discriminate based on race or whatever your title is or whatever you're doing or who you're connected to or who your mom and daddy is. So mental health is a real thing. It's a real thing. So thanks again, Maya. Do you have anything for me before we get off?
Other than a big thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on your platform and talk a little bit about myself and the Virginia State. And I thank you for the words of encouragement. And I want to congratulate you on your health, whatever you want to get into, because you're going to do it. You're going to be great.
Thank you, girl. I appreciate it. Thank you, Maya.
Yes, thank you so much.
Y'all have a good night. It's gonna be a part 2, Maya, because we got more to talk about.
Yes, and thank everybody for who tuned in. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much.
Yes, have a great night.
Yes, good night, y'all.